Warning, this content may be disturbing to some audiences. Subscribe. If you dare.
Imagine going to a horse race and being able to bet on the horses near the end of the race. Rich people get that. Hey everybody, welcome to ANECDOSED. People ask Reddit. What do the rich buy that the poor don't even know is available for purchase?
Number 1.
You can rent celebrities for your private events. Not just musicians, but bona fide actors and actresses. Super rich guy in Bel Air used to host his kid's birthday party in late October, so they went all out for a Halloween-themed party. Everyone at the kid's school was invited, plus their own friends. Each year they'd hire some fantastic athlete to appear at the event. One year it was Tony Hawk, another year it was some Olympic gold medal gymnastic winners. The one that threw me was when they hired Demi Moore, Anthony Kiedis and Benicio del Toro to be guests at the party, to hang out and pretend they were friends with the kid. Mind you, this was a kid's Halloween party, set outside in a huge, massive garden, spread out over tennis courts and lawns, with games, buffets, dessert tables, taco stands, omelet stands, barbecue, pizza, burgers, etc. No booze, no one allowed inside. All the event staff were dressed in Halloween costumes. It was very cool. But it was sad to see Kiedis and Del Toro sitting together commiserating. You could see the things we do for a paycheck look on their faces. They were at a kid's party FFS. Demi was very nice, she brought her little doggies.
Number 2.
A while back some guy on here was talking about his experience working as a sort of personnel manager for a billionaire and how things are just wildly different for them. The specific example he used was how things work when these people want to go on a trip, and give any notice at all to their employees. What happens is that an advance team gets sent ahead by a few days to scope out the rented/bought location and report back exact dimensions for closet space, drawer space, etc. People back at the home go through the clothing, jewelry, etc., and draw up a priority list which is sent to the advance team. The advance team then spends the next 2 days purchasing the list of items. Entire wardrobes, jewelry sets, makeup kits, bathing supplies, etc. Anything they cannot get, not enough time, or is one of a kind like the family heirloom watch the rich dude wears every now and then, is relayed to the house team. The family's schedule is arranged such that the moment the family leaves the house on the day of travel, a whole team of people rushes through and packs up all the remaining items. Only after the family leaves, you wouldn't want to deny them access to their items for even a few seconds, which are then sent ahead to the airport while the family has a lunch or something somewhere. Upon landing, their luggage takes one route, direct, and the family takes a similarly indirect route, unless otherwise directed, such that by the time they get to the location all of their items are not just unpacked but in their proper organized locations and ready for use without any of the advance team ever being visible to the family. What happens when the family leaves the location? The same situation in reverse, but quite frequently all of the repurchased items are just disposed of in some method. It's just easier, if not cheaper, to rebuy them each time the family goes somewhere if they aren't traveling to too many different locations in quick succession.
Number 3.
I don't see it on here, but the vast majority of financial products are out of reach for all but the rich. One reason the rich get richer is that they have access to investments that we've never heard of. Ever seen The Big Short? Why do you think Goldman Sachs took a week to correctly price Dr. Michael Burry's housing short position? Because they were securing that position for themselves and their clients. Those financial instruments are so complicated and the regulation on them so Byzantine that it wouldn't surprise me if Goldman actually didn't do anything illegal, like they're allowed, at their discretion, to misprice an asset for a certain period of time. Probably under the guise of the assets being complicated to price, but really it's just a buffer for them to get an edge that regular people couldn't believe. Imagine going to a horse race and being able to bet on the horses near the end of the race. Rich people get that.
Number 4.
Private banks. Rich people use banks like Chase, but they don't bank through regular branches, instead they use Chase Private Banking. They never wait on hold for a banker to pick up the phone, they get same-day access to their deposits, lines of credit, etc. Deposit $3 million into your checking account and you'll get a call from your bank's private banking group.
Number 5.
Private boarding gate at certain airports. Complete with showers, a spa, full bar, lounge, food, a bed, gym, sauna, etc. Total privacy. Your luggage is scanned and taken through security by a concierge, and you're driven to the plane in a BMW 8 Series.
Number 6.
Actual smart homes. The Alexa/Google Home market is bringing it more mainstream, but for decades the wealthy elite have had smart home functionality through companies like Crestron. The controls go far beyond controlling your lights and thermostat, and integrate with more technologies.
Number 7.
I had a buddy who hired a driver, got him to get a chauffeur's license, and then made sure his Jaguar was long enough to meet criteria as a limo, and then he could legally drink in the backseat. When I traveled with him internationally, someone met us at the door when we were dropped off, and they walked us to our plane. None of that customs/security stuff occurred.
Number 8.
Everyone knows about mega yachts, but the very rich also enjoy their own trains, or at the very least private super luxurious train cars. With their budgets, it isn't expensive to rent space on freight lines and an engine, assuming they don't own their own. Sometimes a group of friends will hook their private cars together and motor around a continent having a big party.
Number 9.
Although not around the continent, I have been lucky enough to be invited on a rich friend's train trips, one from San Francisco to Reno, Nevada and back, in the winter, going through the mountains, beautiful, and one going from SF to LA and back, in the summer, along the coast, also beautiful. Both trips we had 3 vintage train cars, 1920, 1935 and 1940 M full bar, sit-down dining. Everyone dressed up vintage and it was fantastic. What train travel is in our fantasies, not like Amtrak these days with packaged cold sandwiches and plastic cups.
Number 10.
I worked with a guy who had his own private train car. He was an older Wall Street guy, definitely wealthy but not super rich, maybe earning $1 million per year living in Manhattan. He described it as, instead of having a boat, I have this.
Number 11.
Specialized household staff. When someone is truly mega rich, running their household takes the same complexity as running a small to mid-sized company, and management is skilled and compensated accordingly. Don't think butler, think head of operations at a luxury hotel. The staff that household managers oversee can be really specialized as well. For example, Larry Ellison has his own personal curator to oversee his collection of Asian art. They do things like advise on the purchase and sale of art in his collection, oversee storage and display of art housed on his property, oversee process of lending art for storage and display at museums. The curator will often have their own staff to conduct actual conservation work, art transport, art installation, etc. So if you've already got an in-house crew of 7 people focused on your art collection alone, imagine how big your entire household staff is. That's why you've got a household manager.
Number 12.
One of my friends comes from a super wealthy family. We stopped by her parents' house, and of course it's a mansion with a full staff. The lead maid took one look at me and guessed my size. From there she laid out several outfits that had been bought but not worn for me to take home. It was surreal.
Number 13.
Yeah, I was hired a few times by a housekeeper of an ultra-rich guy to fix everything electronic in the house. I installed smart mirrors in the bathrooms. I built and maintained a theater in the basement. I installed sound systems. Maintained a small server in their house with Microsoft Server and VMware for different parts of his business/life. I did a ton of side work in this guy's house for probably 2 years. I worked on various things. Made pretty good money. Paid for a car and my daughter's birth and paid off a lot of loans with that gig. This guy though had a staff of people. They didn't live there except for one person who house-sitted full-time. He was the guy who scheduled all the work. People don't even know what wealth is.
Number 14.
Private performances with big-name artists. I was on a yacht in the Virgin Islands and some mega yacht owner pretty close to us had Christina Aguilera flown in to perform for his guest on the mega yacht. We were close enough to see the performance, not close enough to pretend to be part of the party.
Number 15.
Landing 747s in small airports. I grew up around Lexington, Kentucky. The region is huge on horses, particularly thoroughbred horses. The entire city is surrounded by horse farms, and these farms breed some of the best racing horses in the world. The rich and famous will often come here to buy thoroughbreds to add to their breeding stock. One such person is a sheik from Dubai, I think, who owns his own private 747. Now the local airport isn't rated for 747s, and it's not legal to land one there unless it's an emergency. The sheik doesn't care though and lands his 747 there anyways. The airport fines him every time he does this, which he is totally fine with paying. I've been told that many of the upgrades to the airport over the years were almost entirely funded with money from those fines.
Number 16.
Entire floors of hotels or multiple floors. Entire restaurants. Chefs from literally any restaurant in the world to cook for them, wherever they are. I saw all of those things done by a prince of Saudi Arabia. We estimated it cost him $50,000 just for the one private meal in our restaurant, given that he, 1. Had the top 4 floors of our hotel booked, for the hundreds of staff to take care of him, his wife and his 2 kids, plus likely some concubines, if I'm being honest. As someone in this part of the world, being rich equals the number of people who work for you. 2. He paid $30,000 just to close our restaurant for one meal. 3. Flew his favorite chef from New York to Orlando to cook for him, on his private jet, and then back again. Of course, it was likely the other private jet he had just for his staff, not for himself or his family. 4. Make food for our entire staff, all the kitchen staff, all the federal, state and local security and him, his wife and his 2 kids. I have posted the entire story somewhere else in the past, but I couldn't find it easily. I had a buddy who taught ski lessons to another Saudi prince's little kid and had some nearly unbelievable and yet similar details during his interactions with them. That kid had an entire team around him, or probably 10 staff, plus vehicles, snowmobiles, a helicopter, and so on. I later met a guy who worked on an ultra-luxury 300-foot yacht and served Bill Gates and his wife, among other super rich people. Their primary job was to operate without interacting with them, or at least as little as possible. This shows you, in some sense, that having people around you doing stuff you need to be done but doing it invisibly is another perk of being rich.
Number 17.
Luxury ice cubes. Glacé Luxury Ice Company produces perfectly square ice blocks for minimum dilution and maximum cooling. Hand-carved and completely clear, these cubes are sold in bags of 50 and each bag costs $325.
Number 18.
You can buy houses ready to move in only with a suitcase. These houses are more than fully equipped. Everything is already there, like the whole furniture, glasses, knives, forks, spoons, tissues and toilet paper, towels, toys and games for the children, etc.
Number 19.
I worked for a major company that had employees in sketchy places, war zones. We had a blanket K&R, kidnap and ransom, policy for every employee. Basically, if any employee was kidnapped, they'd pay out X millions to professional negotiators to try and free us. I never got a chance to use it, partially because I worked in Virginia the whole time.
Number 20.
Dinosaurs and artifacts that have not been discovered by science. A huge problem with paleontology in general is that most new discoveries are locked up in private collections with no one being able to study them. Make sure to share your personal story in the comments below and have the opportunity to be featured in a future video. Also, if you like these topics, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification button to continue seeing more content like this every day. See you next time.